All right, we're back. This is Jamie with Thoughtful Horsemanship. We are working on Jameson again, the horse that bolts. And so I did speed it up so this video wasn't as long. And on the ground, I'm just going back over some of his basics, getting him used to that lunging again. He does get a lot better. Just getting him to move his feet and realize that it's okay to move his feet. You can see he's kind of struggling, but then he kind of gets the hang of it. He's like, oh yeah, that's what you want. Okay. It's not that big a deal. You know, we've been working on this for about 3 days. So, you know, you got to kind of give him a break. He's not completely confident of what's going on, but he is figuring it out, which is super exciting. Because it's like the light bulb is clicking on, and that is what's great for us, for him and for me. So that he can progress a little more. And there he even got into the trot. So we know he can trot. He doesn't take off or bolt or, you know, blow up that way. So that's a huge plus again. And there I try to get him into trot, and he does, and same thing. So it's kind of a win-win. You know, he's showing me that he can trot, he can come back to, you know, neutral, and, you know, just kind of think about things. And just doing our flexing again so that he can realize it, you know, this is, so he hasn't forgotten anything like that. And then we're going to ask him to move off of that stirrup by stirrup driving him. And he does pretty good with that. And I'm trying to get him into trot. He does go into the trot. He can't really see much, but he does. Because he did go out of frame there. But you could kind of see the shadow up against the walls. So you saw that he was trotting. Basically, I'm just standing there letting him think about it and process what we just did. And he did. He licked his lips, thought about it, and go to the other side. We're going to just flex at first. Then we're going to go to ground driving. Or stirrup driving, I'm sorry. And I did kind of have to smack him with the end of the rein that time. And then he got better. And I'm just letting him process everything again. I'm not, with blown up horse like this, he likes to internalize everything. And he likes to hold everything in. And what happens is when they have too much stuff that they're holding in, that's when they tend to blow up. Or they tend to overreact. And so some horses, you know, they're just pretty much steady eddies all the time. And other horses, they just kind of are overreactive all the time. So some of these that seem quiet and overreactive, you know, we've tried ruling out pain and everything to make sure that there's no issues with his bolting. And so you can see when I stand up on the mounting block, he's a little hesitant. He throws his head up in the air a little bit. And when I worked with him on this, his eyes got really big and really wide. Like, what are you doing up there? Why are you up there? I'm not so sure I like this. So basically just kind of told me that he's a little worried about me being up there. And so I just took some time, just kind of get him to, you know, take one little step at a time, work one step at a time, you know, just let him process things, let him work through things as he can. And so I'm just waiting for him to kind of, you know, take a deep breath or a sigh or something. Like I said, just one step at a time is all I'm asking for him. Kind of come closer. that mounting block, you know, it's going to kind of mimic me being up on him. He needs to be comfortable with seeing me up high, because if he can't handle that, then, you know, that's telling me that he's probably not super comfortable with somebody on his back. But as you continue to watch the video, you see that he does actually, you know, he gets pretty good about it. He's trying to think. He's kind of twitching. His head and neck are kind of bobbing, like he's kind of twitching there a little bit. And he's trying to process what we just did. Sometimes when they're really kind of shut down like this can take a while for them to process different things and different items. And sometimes you have to re-ask them to clarify that it's okay for what we just did. It's okay. That is, you know, that is the right answer. But you don't want to cram it down their throat. You don't want to shove it on them and say, you are going to do this. And you can see the cat is a real good distractor for him. He's not really paying much attention. And he finally kind of took a breath, licked his lips a little bit there. And so we're going to ask again, just kind of see what he does. And he puts his head up quite a bit. He's not really quite sure about all that. And he'll look away, and I let him look away for a little bit, and then I ask him to come back to me mentally. Just because if you let them look away too much, that they forget that you're kind of there. And you see I'm doing a bunch of stuff, trying to make sure he's kind of square, used to the rocking the saddle back and forth. And I step up in the stirrup. I'm not on him. I'm on the stirrup. I asked him to flex. And then I'm going to take my other leg and I'm going to bump him. Ask him to walk. And you can kind of see that I'm, you know, going to steer a little bit, but I'm going to keep bumping. And then I'll, you know, flex him to a stop. And I'm just going to sit and I'm going to kind of wait for him to kind of take a breath or you know, realize that didn't hurt him, that didn't kill him. You know, we did stuff on the mounting block and then on the side of the saddle. I probably could have done more on top of the mounting block as well, just to kind of get him a little bit more comfortable with it. But I didn't this time. And there he licked and chewed, kind of thought about that. We'll do the same thing on this side. Just because it's real common for one side to be, you know, gotten on and off for a horse, we still start, when I start babies, I start them on both sides. We do work on both sides, not just one. And I'm just going to wait for him to kind of relax there again. There he kind of dropped his head a little bit, took a deep sigh. I'll ask again, just kind of remind him. He's like, oh, okay. And he's not really paying attention. He's kind of looking around. So I'm going to do some of the same things. Just kind of check him out. Rock back and forth. Tilt his head in just a smidge. Because if he does decide to bolt, then he can kind of flex and hopefully kind of direct where he's going. Now, the interesting thing is he had to kind of step over that mounting block. And he took that really well. I was really happy with him. And that can kind of be a big deal, but he did really well. I was really happy with how he handled that for the first day. For the little bit that we did, he's not showing signs that he needs to take off running or he needs to bolt or run away or anything. Granted, this is in a round pen. It's not in an arena. It's not out in the open, but I need to be able to have some of these fundamentals on him first before we go ahead and take him out into a bigger area.